the Happiness Fighters Army could hold all the gold and power at the end of Money in the Bank if it goes our way. We have honorary member Seth frickin' Rollins and fellow member Mummy Rhea Ripley going for that power of Money in the Bank briefcase. We have the man, Becky Lynch, going for the Intercontinental Championship. We could have the money, the gold, the power, the bananas that we want at the end of Money at the Bank. My name is Hobbsy and welcome to the Happiness Fighters Army, an army where we fight for our happiness, our dreams, our successes against our own version of our own darkness, be mental, physical, life situations, or the big bad world right now. Yes, that is correct. The Happiness Fighters Army could hold all the gold, money, power, even bananas at the end of Money in the Bank if everything goes our way. And I am looking forward to Money in the Bank. I really am. Usually Money in the Bank is in July, my birthday month, but I understand why they moved it this year. So I don't know if it's going to stay here or not, but I'm looking forward to this PLE. Money in the Bank is like one of my top 5 most loved PLEs. So anything could happen, and it's just one of those PLEs where it's a good storyline resetter in my eyes. And what I mean by that is, like, if you need to end a story and start a new one, this is a great PLE to do that at, with the Money in the Bank line of matches as well. So I'm just going to give you my predictions and thoughts on every match at Money in the Bank 2025 and any surprise elements or anything like that. So with that, let's get on with it, shall we? Now I want to iterate. I'm going to go from least interesting to most interesting match in my eyes. And then I'm going to do a surprise element roundup. If I haven't mentioned any surprise element in the matches when I'm talking about, I'll mention it at the end in this roundup. And yeah, so let's get on with it, shall we? Okay, I want to iterate. All these matches are interesting in rivalry-wise and story-wise as well. I'm just going to go from my least interested one to my most interested match in my eyes. And we're going to start with the GOAT, John Cena, teaming up with Logan Paul to take on the American Nightmare and the World Heavyweight Champion, Jey Uso. Now, this could go either way, my eyes. I still do not know which way this is going to go. It could go down the John Cena and Logan Paul somehow get a victory way and we continue that whole heel turn for John Cena, which I feel like John Cena's heel turn right now, even if it's intentional or non-intentional, is a major plug for his DC show, Peacemaker. I don't know why, but I just feel like that is the way that they could go with this. And then the closer it gets to Peacemaker is the closer we see John returning to the John Cena we love. If this happens, that'll be an epic plug for his show. Because if you have not watched Peacemaker, this is sort of what Peacemaker is in my eyes. Like, he's half heel, half babyface. Yeah. I highly recommend go watch it. I would watch the second season that's coming out in August, but it's moved to HBO Max in Australia, and I don't have that, and I can't afford to get that, but I highly recommend go watching that. John Cena or his people have not paid me to promote this. I just really love the series. But yeah, it could go down that way. Or you could have Cody and Jay win, and then they have a rematch at Night of Champions for John's title. I don't know which way this match is going to go. I'm going to predict no prediction for this match. Just going to enjoy the match. But I do see soon the final boss coming back. And that's fellow Happiness Fighter Army member Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I see him coming back and him taking on honorary Happiness Fighter Army member Seth Rollins, but I also see a whole breakdown of like him and John's relationship on screen, off screen. They could be still friends, but on screen, like. And what I mean by this is that the final boss isn't happy with John's results, and as he sold his soul to the final boss, and then this could lead to a rivalry between the two of them. I'm gonna say it's SummerSlam. John Cena, The Rock, bam. Then that's how we get John Cena to turn back to a babyface or more of a neutral character in my eyes. But yeah, I don't know who's gonna win this match or what's gonna happen, and I like it. Then we move on to the men's Money in the Bank ladder match with Honorary Happiness Fighter Army member Seth freaking Rollins, LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, Andrea, Penta, and Americano. The American Luchador. I still can't say his name. And I am going to always go my Happiness Fighter Army members, even if they're honorary ones. So I would love to see Seth Rollins win this and bring that briefcase home to the army and have all that power as the visionary god he is. But I feel like CM Punk's going to cost him that after like Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed come out as well. If I had to pick a non-Happiness Fighter Army member to win this, I'm going to go LA Knight and then Penta, just because I think they need that at this moment in their careers. Americano is going to be interesting in this match because Chad Gable has a match at Worlds Collide against, I can't remember his name, Vaco. Sorry, I can't pronounce Mexican names pretty well. And if he gets a bruise, like say Chad Gable gets a bruise in an obvious place, and then gets into this match, and the bruise is in exactly the same place as Chad Gable's, we know it's Chad Gable under there. I think this would be a great way to just get rid of this character, like have someone unmask him in the Money in the Bank, and then we know it's Chad Gable. If it's not, I will be shocked. But yeah, I think that's why they put Americano in this match, to show that if it isn't Chad Gable under there, show that it's someone else. But we all know it's Chad Gable under there. Just get rid of this character. Seriously, this Chad Gable got 2 shots if it is Chad Gable under there. You think about it, to qualify, and he got in. With Solo, I feel like Jacob Fittel is going to cost him his shot at the briefcase, and then they'll set up that rivalry. Because I feel like they just need to pull the trigger on that right now. And yeah, they could pull it, have them at Night of Champions, go at it, and then at SummerSlam have Priest versus Jacob Fittel for the United States title. That's what I would love to see. But in the end of the day, I'm going to go my Honorary Happiness Fighter Army member, the Visionary God, Seth freaking Rollins. He's going to make that 10-year anniversary since winning his last Money in the Bank briefcase. But if not, I will go LA Knight or Penta for the win in this match. The next match we move on to is the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match with Julia, Stephanie Fakir, Alexa Bliss, Naomi, Roxanne Perez, and fellow Happiness Fighter Army member Mummy Rhea Bloody Ripley. And I am going for Mummy in the Bank. Everyone says she doesn't need it, but I think she does. Hear me out. Because we know like she's going to go after the title eventually and that, but I want her to have it this way. Have her have all the power over the women's division. It would set up a really great storylines in the future. Who's to say she doesn't cash it in on her birthday in Crown Jewel in her home country of Australia when they come down under. So yeah, I'm going to go Mummy for the win. But if I had to pick anyone else, I would pick Alexa Bliss and Stephanie Fakir. Now I want to say this Women's Money in the Bank ladder match is stacked with brilliant talent. I will say, and there's so many storylines they could set up here. And I'm going to just go through them as well. Firstly, with Naomi, well, you know basically what's going to happen. Either Jade or Bianca's going to cost her that title shot or continue on in Champions and Women's Evolution, which I would love to see Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi triple threat. I would love to see that. Maybe whoever wins gets to face Tiffany at SummerSlam or something like that. But yeah, it's coming that, I think, soon. And I just can't wait. Now, with Roxanne Perez, Liv could cost her Money in the Bank title shot because of her flirting with Dirty Dom and the whole Finn support system thing. I feel like we are getting the breakdown of Judgment Day very, very soon. And it'll be Finn and JD and Roxanne versus Dom, Raquel, and Liv. And if that happens, I'm going Dom, Liv, and Raquel's side. That's how good Dom's doing right now. I'm going to vote for Dirty Dom. If you asked me this a year ago, I would not. But yeah, Stephanie Vicky is either going to be feuding with Julia for a while, or we could start a new rivalry with her and Mummy if Mummy doesn't win Money in the Bank. Even if she does, she could put the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line in the match. We haven't seen that for a while. But yeah, I feel like big things are going to come for Stephanie Vicky very soon. Alexa Bliss, you could have Charlotte interfere and then set up that rivalry. Who else? Julia, I don't really know yet. Bar Stephanie Vicky, I don't know who. Maybe she doesn't win and she goes after Selena Vega. We'll say that. But yeah, there's so many possible storylines from this women's Money in the Bank ladder match that I'm looking forward to it more than the men's. I'm going to say it. So yeah. So to recap, end of the day, I'm going to go Money in the Bank. But if not, we are going Stephanie Vicky or Alexa Bliss to get the win and take that briefcase home. Now, we are going to talk about the most interesting match in my eyes at Money in the Bank, the one that I'm looking forward to the most and could set up a possible epic storyline in the women's division in my eyes. And that is fellow Happiness Fight Army member Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Now, Becky's bringing that title home, and I say this as a Happiness Fighter Army member and a WWE fan. I just think it makes sense for her to have the title. It's just how she's going to do it is going to be very interesting. Especially now with her saying that if Lyra loses, she has to raise Becky's hand. That's going to be very interesting. But I feel like in this match, it could set up a really great storyline for the women's division, which I've talked about on my socials a little bit. I don't know if I talked about on here, but that is a women versus women generation feud. Hear me out. You have the GOATs like Becky, Charlotte, Bayley, Natty. I'll even put Alexa Bliss in there. Versus like newcomers like Rhea, Lyra, Tiffany, Stephanie Vicky, Julia, just for some examples. And you could have those GOATs say, like, we're not stepping away, we're still great, we're still here, we want to fight, we're not stepping away just for the new blood. You don't know what it takes to be a GOAT in WWE. And then this could set up a real generation war or feud between the women's generations. And I feel like this first part of that is slowly taking place, and we're going to get a next step in that at Money in the Bank in this match, because I feel like Bayley, the role model, is returning, but she's going to return as her heel self or neutral version, and she'll come out after the match to save Lyra because Becky's beating her down or something, or she'll cause Lyra to be distracted and that's how Becky gets the win. I just don't know which one yet. And everyone would think, okay, Bayley's here for Lyra, she's going to stand up to Becky. But no, she actually helps Becky. like she did with Sasha Banks all those years ago, where she took the chair and did it to the back of Becky. I feel like we're getting that again. Now, don't get me wrong, I love babyface Bayley, but I feel like Bayley does some of her best work when she's a heel or neutral kind of person. And I think this is the right move for her career as well. And it would be a great way to regenerate her career, let's just say. And yeah, could do this on the Monday Night Raw after Money in the Bank if they're teaming. And say something similar like this is that we threw you off. Of course we're going to have each other's back. We're 2 of the 4 horsewomen. We're the goats of this business. Especially after this past week's Monday Night Raw, where Becky said in a promo, Lara's in a lose-lose situation. And so the Monday Night Raw after Money in the Bank, they say, like I said, of course we're going to have each other's back. We're the 4 horsewomen. We're the goats of this business sort of thing. And then they explain that Bayley asked Becky to attack her, to throw off Lara, knowing that Lara would call Becky and have her as her tag team partner at WrestleMania 41 and say that this was the long-term plan. And everyone's probably wondering why. Well, we're sick of the newcomers getting all the glory. We're sick of putting ourselves over for the newcomers. It's time that the GOATs took back WWE. Something like that. And then this sets up a possible, fingers crossed, heel version of the 4 horsewomen -1. And what I mean by this is Charlotte, Becky, and Bayley. I know these women say they don't work well together, and I don't want this to happen if they don't want it, but I feel like a heel version of the 4 horsewomen in 2025 right now would work. It'd be like Seth Rollins and his faction right now. I could see it, and then, it doesn't have to happen overnight. It could slowly happen, and then by the time you get to Survivor Series, it becomes a War Games match between, the GOATs and the New Gens. I could see it, and then I can see it. Now, how this could continue is very interesting. If Lara's still champion, it's simple. Have Becky go off, do her own thing, and then have Bayley versus Lara for the Intercontinental Championship. If Becky's champion, just make a triple threat, I say, between these 3. And then at Women's Evolution, Becky and Bayley versus Lara and someone. You could put Roxanne in there. It would be a great way to set up for SummerSlam. If the rumors are true, it's going to be Becky and Seth versus CM Punk and Roxanne Perez, which I would really love to see. That would be a great way just to end that feud with them all. You could put the Happiness Fighter Army member in there, Mommy Rhea Ripley in there. If not, you could just do a singles match between Becky and Bayley at the Women's Evolution just to see who's the better one, who's going to be in charge. But yeah, I thought about this, but not to the point where I know every single detail. But I'm going to say we're getting a 4 horsewoman reunion at least by the end of 2020. And I'm here for it. At the end of the day, Becky's bringing that cold home to the Army, and I cannot wait. Now with that, that's all the matches. Any surprise elements? I think maybe we'll get, like I said, Brock come back, Bayley come back. We could have Travis Scott even come. I don't think we're going to get too many surprise elements. We might get an announcement of a new PLE. Yeah, I just think not many real surprises are coming yet. I think they're going to save it for either Night of Champions or the Women's Evolution PLE for the women's division. But yeah, they're my predictions for Money in the Bank 2025. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think is going to happen at Money in the Bank? Who's going to win the briefcase? Who's winning the gold at the end of the night? anything. I want to hear from you guys. Now, there is no match for Money in the Bank in my skit series, which is taking on my rivals in WWE skit series, because we are diving deeper into the karmic ancestral plane world, and that's going to set up for an epic match at Night of Champions, an epic match at the Women's Evolution PLE. And yeah, so if you want to check that out, go follow me on my socials. It's Hobbsy the Happiness Fighter. I also post them here on YouTube. And with that, I hope you guys are having a nice, warm, toasty, joyful day. If not, I'm sending you joyful, warm, toasty hugs your way.